When the CD came out, when digital arrived to the consumer market in the early 80s, I was working at Sound by Singer, and everybody thought that turntable sales would fall off a cliff. People would stop buying LPs and the world would be all digital in a couple of years. It didn't work out that way. Obviously, people are still in 2019 buying turntables and records. But to go back to this time period, the 80s, right, when someone would walk into the store, Sound by Singer, where I was working, and say, oh yeah, I just got a new CD player, I'm getting rid of all my records, I would say, really? Great. Can I do a quickie comparison for you? I want to compare a CD player, a really good CD player, with a turntable. And they go, why? And I say, I want to show you that maybe a turntable can sound better than a CD player. And they go, that's impossible. How could that be? CDs are perfect. They don't have any speed issues. They don't have any noise issues. They have better stereo separation. I say, I know, that's all that is true. But let's just compare CD to LP. I have a whole bunch of CDs and LPs in the same record, and I will go back and forth. I'll do A, B comparisons for you, and don't think about which one's the CD or the LP. Just tell me which one sounds better to you, you know. And I'm going to start. I'm going to say here's A, here's B, and then you tell me when to switch. And I would do these comparisons, and you know what? A lot of people, most, 3/4, 80% would pick the LP over the CD when I would do these comparisons. And they were surprised. And then I would stop the A-B thing. I'd say, here, just tell me, switch with, and I will do it. They said, wow, why does the LP sound better? I said, the whys and the wherefores, I can't tell you exactly. I could say, you know, I didn't use these words in the 80s, but you know, the analog to digital conversion and digital to analog conversions were kind of primitive in those days, but be that as it may, the proof is in the listening. As always, use these things on your side of your head to determine which sounds better. And people, I sold a lot of turntables to people who said they were getting rid of their turntables because they just got a CD player and they had perfect sound forever. So this was going on, and it got to be a thing, you know, that anytime somebody walked into the store and said words like that, like, hey, I just got a CD player and I'm getting rid of all my records. Well, the follow-up question would be, how many records do you own? And they'd say, you know, 50. I'd say, well, it doesn't matter. But if they said they had 1,000 records, well, if they had 1,000 records and they paid $10 for each one, they paid $10,000 for those records, more or less, right? Many thousands of dollars. Maybe you shouldn't be in such a hurry to chuck them all to get this newfangled digital format. Anyway, so you know, this is going on, and I remember one guy in particular. I think his name was Rick, and he came in and he said those words, and I had to take a seat. I'll do the comparisons, and he was blown away. And I was playing a Riga planer, a $500 turntable. And he was so into it. I said, well, this is where we start. Let me play you some better turntables. I played him a Linn LP12, and in the end, I played a Roxanne Xerxes. Now, this wasn't all in one day. This was spread out over maybe a week or so. And he gets up to the Roxanne Xerxes, kept coming back, listens to the Roxanne Xerxes, that this is it. He buys the Xerxes. You know, we set it up for him, take it to his house, and the guy just couldn't believe that his record collection sounded like that and so much better than it ever had. Then he said, hey, Steve, you know your stuff. Let me check out some other stuff. Let me hear your speakers, you know, and he bought a whole system. So this all started with this guy, Rick, by saying, oh, I'm getting rid of my CD player and getting rid of my LPs because digital's so much better. And I turned his head around, and he became one of my better customers at that point. And people, it's one of the things about high-end audio that's endlessly fascinating to me is that unlike other high-end or luxury products like cars and watches and planes and boats and all that kind of stuff, or shoes, that the people who buy those luxury products are aware that they exist and kind of what they do and what they're for and more or less what they cost. But high-end audio is kind of, well, not kind of, it is 100% invisible to the people who would be potential buyers of that stuff, you know. It's just, unless they read Stereophile, the Absolute Sound, or they have a friend that's an audiophile or something, they would never know that these things exist. And that's one of the reasons why audio sort of is always in the dark corners. It's always out of sight and out of mind in the general public. They just don't know that it exists. To them, they might be dimly aware of, let's say, Macintosh. I think that's the most visible, expensive audio, certainly in the United States. They might know of Klipsch. They might know of JBL. But otherwise, pretty much everything else is just like, whoosh. Anyway, I just want to regale you with that story about how the introduction of the CD turned out to be a boom for turntable sales. This is in the 80s. Oh, my name is Steve Guttenberg. This is the Audiophiliac Daily Show, and it does come up daily. So check back often. If you like these videos, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. Check out the playlist. There's playlists for speaker reviews and music reviews and interviews and all kinds of stuff. There's over 450 videos on this YouTube channel. That is it. Oh, and if you really like it and you've gotten this far watching the video, check out my Patreon page, which is at www.patreon.com/audiophiliac. Thanks for watching.